It is September 15th, the first day of National Hispanic Heritage Month. And in observation of that, we're celebrating the history and the culture of the Hispanic population living here in Knoxville and across the country. A part of celebrating that rich history is documenting it and then sharing it with younger generations. As reporter Alex Stokes shows us now, that's what the city of Lorain in Ohio is doing 100 years after the first Latino immigrants came to that area.
When I was growing up, it was a hub of activity.
Vine Avenue is now a quiet road in South Lorain, but you can still hear echoes of what once was the epicenter of the city's Latino community.
There was a Mexican store owned by the Tenorio family, and why do I remember it? Because his sons were cute.
Eileen Torres holds fond memories of the street, established as a result of discrimination and anchored by the steel mill.
The Mexican community started out as the predominant community. My grandfather came here in 1921 from Mexico, recruited to work at the steel mill.
It is the story of Eileen's grandfather and thousands of other Latinos that the Lorain Historical Society is trying to tell in their new exhibit celebrating 100 years Latino history in Lorain, Ohio.
The Latino community was very underrepresented in what we have in our collection, in our story.
Executive Director Barbara Piscopo knew she couldn't tell it alone, and 2 years ago formed a collaboration with Oberlin College and El Centro, a nonprofit social services agency headed by Victor Leandri.
There's a story here that many people in this community doesn't know.
They brought in Latino community leaders to form a committee.
Our dreams are big. We want to in the future have a place where we can exhibit and display the history. So this is one of the steps to get there.
In 1947, U.S. Steel was looking for laborers after World War II. They hired 500 Puerto Rican men, and the population has only grown.
We're considered a predominant Puerto Rican community. We make 30% of the city is Latino, and 40-something% of the school system is Latino.
Torres, who was a Mexican folk dancer, remembers rehearsing and performing at the Puerto Rican home.
Sometimes the Mexican fiestas were held at the Puerto Rican home. So many things. I mean, we did fiestas at the Slovenian home. I mean, all the ethnicities had an interconnection.
But in the 1970s, the interconnection was severed as Vine Avenue structures were torn down due to urban renewal, and the part of the street that led to the steel mill was covered in grass.
It was like in the name of progress, communities were torn apart. And that's what happened to Vine Avenue.
The panels people will walk through at the Historical Society until the end of October were designed by Jesse Gardado.
It is a very emotional reflection of the past and hopefully a very positive reaction for the future.
There is a desire to see another hub of Latino businesses and culture emerge in Lorain, much like Vine Avenue once was.
So that we have a place to meet, greet, and network with others.
There's a voice that collectively we can have, that we can make a big impact in this city.
Now, National Hispanic Heritage Month runs September 15th through October 15th. One way you can celebrate right here in Knoxville is by heading to the Knoxville Museum of Art. Ora Latina, the local Hispanic art and culture organization, hosted a competition between local Hispanic and Latino artists. It's called Frutos Latinos. Their works are on display all month, starting with a reception tonight until 8. Again, that's at the Museum of Art. You can also make sure to join us Sunday, October 10th at 5:30 as we observe Hispanic Heritage Month on WATE 6 on your side. We are celebrating the history, the culture, the contributions of Hispanic and Latino individuals across East Tennessee. Again, that's coming up Sunday, October 10th at 5:30.